Simon Karam, an entrepreneur, a successful businessman, an attractive tennis player, a great leader, but that's not all, an inspiring father. He graduated from the St. Joseph's University, Beirut, and completed his postgraduate studies in France. This Lebanese national came to Oman for a short 2 weeks in Mazeira, replacing his colleague and aiding in the installation of one of the first airstrips in the country for the Royal Air Force. The colleague never returned. Simon never left. At the Construction Week Awards, Oman 2015, Mr. Simon Karam was granted the Lifetime Achievement Award, which is an honor in itself. For over 47 years, he has been surprising people from the moment of his arrival in the Sultanate of Oman. In 1973, Mr. Karam started his own company, Trevo LLC. According to him, during that time there was nothing in Oman except for opportunities. Due to his creative and unique thinking, it was soon understood that markets like Oman are reliant on oil and can be very cyclical. Hence diversified to other sectors like manufacturing, marine services, oil extraction, and oil distribution. Currently, the dedicated director of SAROOJ Construction Company, Mr. Karam, is also the chairman of Al-Taha Group. Not only has his work experience been prosperous and self-gratifying, but he has also been successful in finding a great home for him and his family. The culture, the people, and the beauty of the land have all influenced him into becoming a proud citizen of this nation, Oman.
Hello everyone. We are members of Group 3 of the 2017 batch of MBA program conducted by the Postgraduate Institute of Management, Sri Javadinpura University, Colombo. Of course, the training program is conducted in Muscat. And as a part of this training program, today we are with Mr. Simon Karam, who is a leading entrepreneur in Oman. He is the director of one of the most leading construction firms, SAROOJ Construction Company. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. You are welcome to SAROOJ.
Thank you. Could you let us know about your journey so far with the SAROOJ Construction Company?
Yeah. Let me tell you my journey in construction in general. My journey started about 52 years. I've been in this business. From our childhood, we grew up in a culture that encourages entrepreneurs. In my family, for example, there is nobody who's got a job. We don't have job, we have businesses. I'm probably the only guy who took a job with a Lebanese company for 3-4 years after I finished my studies in Paris, my postgraduate studies. But I knew all the way that it won't be long that I'll be employed. So in 1971, 72, I started my own businesses. I say businesses because not only SAROOJ, but we formed a series of new companies, of which SAROOJ is probably the strongest arm in construction. So for 45 years now, we have been working in Oman and abroad, not much abroad, but here, it's a local company. And with the arrival of the new generations, my children, my nephews, it's a family business. We are designing the future in such a manner that it remains sustainable and continuing for many years to come. This is in 2 words how I started and where SAROOJ is now.
Thank you, sir. And of course, could you tell us what your key driving force was to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned, we grew up in an environment that does not believe much in being employed and staying in any. There's nothing wrong with being employed, you know, but we did not grow in that culture. And the main driver is the need, you know, unless somebody needs money, needs growth, then he will not be attracted, he will not dare. But if somebody thinks that he started from very low level and he's got responsibilities, a family, parents, environment, so those who have looked at you when you were at university and they hope that you'll do something for them, these are actually the main driver that pushes you to go and do more than limited. You may fail, of course, but there are solutions to not failing or to failing as well. So that probably the need and the hope that people have put in you were the main driver actually.
Okay. So like you have been handling a major number of projects. So which project was the most challenging to begin with?
Yeah. You see, most of our projects are challenging, to be honest with you. And if they were not challenging, then maybe other people would have taken them from us. Every project in its own way is challenging. Some are challenging because of the short period of time for construction. Some are very challenging because of the nature of the work. Some are challenging because you have to adapt to a certain situation or force majeure or thing. But probably the most challenging job was the demarcation of borderline on very difficult mountainous area where we had to go by helicopter for about a year and put monuments that demarcate the borderline between two countries. This is geographically the most challenging project that we have done. Others were very challenging technically, such as tunnels that we have done, work in the sea, in rough seas. But I would think every project is in its own way a bit challenging.
Yeah, you're right. Of course, being a born Lebanese national, what encouraged you to do business in Oman and especially at this level?
It's a good question. You see, the company I was working with that I mentioned, you know, the Lebanese company, signed a contract with the Royal Air Force, the British Royal Air Force, not the guy, in 1970 when His Majesty had just arrived to the throne. They signed a contract to build an air base in Masira, the island which is off the coast of Oman towards the Indian Ocean. And the project had started. There was a project manager, I was young, and he wanted to go on 14 days leave. And I did not know him, but I heard him speak about that. I came to replace him for 14 days. And I've never left, and he never came back. So I worked another year on the air base, and then when I came to the mainland, it was a country that had practically nothing except the will to develop. So the opportunities were huge. Any resource was demanded, was required, any resource, whether it's service or machine or whatever. So I felt, because I had the drive to start my business, I thought that this is the ideal place. And indeed, I was not wrong, because Oman has many things to offer its people, the kindness of its people, accepting the other, their moderation, their humility, the beauty of Oman. And with years, you become attached to the country, to the point that I became Omani, you see. This is the thing.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And Hamzat, if you have anything else.
How did you build a successful client base in Oman when the market is so competitive?
You see, you have to know the market, and you have to keep an eye on the trends, and not wait for the event to happen, but sniff it, smell it a little bit. You see, since the last 3 years, we suspected that the price of oil will go down, and therefore the business will go down. So we we pushed away from the easy work, talking about the challenging contracts, and we went into more difficult and more demanding projects, which are still existing in Oman. So we are not involved in doing houses or buildings or roads or small infrastructure, because these have stopped being done at the moment. They're frozen. We are more involved in with EPC, international contractors, building big petrochemical plants, working on the oil field, mainly on more demanding clients, and oil and gas clients are demanding in terms of quality, in terms of safety, of course, in terms of management techniques, in terms of skills. So there will be less competition in that field. That's how we managed we read the market properly. And of course, we count a lot on our reputation. We have several clients who will take us with them wherever they go. So this is how we manage to continue.
What sort of CSR activities are carried out by SAROOJ Construction Company?
It's not structured. And the country, this is something new for the country. So our CSR goes from giving scholarships to students, to helping clubs, to sponsoring matches, to build majlis, and we do things of common interest as well as for individuals. We give donations, of course, to charitable organizations. We helped a lot when Gonu, when the cyclone hit many areas. SAROOJ was there with its machines. Even lately in Salalah, we participated enormously to the cleaning and reopening and making and reaching out for people who were isolated to bring them immediate water and food. So it is not structured as such as yet, but we know all corporate, the country is new. The theme is new for us. There is no distinction between donation and but it's coming. But these are the sort of things that we help people with.
Okay. So how would you describe a difficult client, and how do you deal with such a person? Like, what advice would you suggest in dealing with them?
With whom, sorry?
How do you describe a difficult client?
Difficult client? Yeah. Well, first you have to accept and establish that he is difficult. Then you have to see his difficulty in what. If he's difficult in paying you, then it is a catastrophe. But if he's difficult and he wants his good quality, that's fine. You must adapt yourself to that. Or he needs his thing absolutely on time, and he said, okay, you can gear yourself up. There is no client that is absolutely difficult, but there are some, and we try to avoid them actually as much as we can. But in the end, he's the source of our income. Even we have to do that extra step to keep him satisfied, especially when his needs are very, very genuine. Suppose you're building a villa for somebody and he's renting a house outside, and you promise to deliver his house in October. If it's not delivered, the guy has got to pay more outside, then you have to cater for that as well. You have to handle them and not forget that they are the source of your revenues. But some are very difficult indeed. Yeah.
Do you have any role model who inspired you?
Yes, there are many people, and it's especially individuals, you see, and of course, those who inspire are those whom you know. The company I worked with was founded by an engineer like me, Lebanese engineer, who in less than 20 years formed the most successful contracting company in the region. In 1948, he had several private aeroplanes to transport welders to work in the desert when nobody knew where the desert was, since the early 50s. And he became a very famous politician. And he was a regional leader, and he was a member of parliament and could have become easily a president of the republic. He's an orphan, and he studied at a university in Beirut, American university, and then he went to MIT a very successful man, a very generous man. Unfortunately, he died young in his private aeroplane. He was stubborn that day. The pilot told him it's bad weather, but he died. His name until now is known as a brilliant businessman, brilliant politician, brilliant in every aspect. He's my idol. Yeah, Emil Bustani, his name is. Yeah.
All right, sir. Now, Shah.
Mr. Simon, what do you think is more important for an entrepreneur? Is it academics or is it the experience?
Neither of them. There's an element which is more important, I think. It's the passion and the will to work hard. These two factors can, in many cases, compensate for the absence of academics and the absence of experience, I would say. More to the academics they can cover. Of course, if you have good academics, this will help you a lot. It will help you go faster. Experience will help you make less errors, but nothing will take the place of passion and hard work. People talk about luck. Some are lucky, but hard work can compensate for that. People think that this man is more intelligent than the other, and he is. Hard work can compensate for that. I think these are the more important. The passion and hard work for any entrepreneur are the major element. You take Jack Ma, for example. Jack Ma, his academics are not very good at all. He failed in many things. His experience is rich because he failed several times. And his hard work and his passion, when you hear him, he's the founder of Alibaba. When you hear him, and I heard him several times talk in person, the passion comes out of him, and the hard work. These, I think, are more important than both academic and experience. And you see, especially when somebody starts as an entrepreneur, he has no experience, then what? We tell him don't start because you don't have experience? No, you will gain it. Good.
Thank you. Being the busy person you are, when you do get some free time, what do you generally do?
Oh yeah, look, there's 24 hours in a day. That's too many hours. If you organize yourself, you see, when you are passionate about something or about everything, you see, when I work, people think he's a workaholic. When I'm playing tennis, people say, this guy does nothing except play tennis. When I teach my children, or I used to, say he's a teacher. You see, you find that there is time, you can spare time for everything. Okay, your health should be okay, I sleep 5-6 hours in a day, which is sufficient for me. But I'm writing books now. So I spend my time writing. I spend some time in sports, as I said. In tennis we play 3 times a week. I am not so much interested by going and doing tourism because we travel a lot at any rate, so it comes by its own. I do spend a lot of time in NGOs. At the moment, I am involved in the country's think tank, in the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, in several societies, in the team that makes the Vision 2040 for Oman. So for the last 10 years, this was my main occupation beside the work. And that's understandable because my kids became big and they've gone their own way.
Thank you. If you give one advice to someone just starting to be an entrepreneur, what would that be?
I already said it, I think. He should not be afraid of failing. Failing is essential to succeed, I think. I share, but not 24 times. Fail once, twice, that's it. After that, you should have found it. So not be afraid. Second, don't be afraid of competition because the other guy is also afraid from him. So forget about do your thing and be prepared to do hard work, as we said. So it's passion and hard work and not being afraid. This would be my advice to my children or to anybody who wants to start his own business. My children have started their own business in that manner. And I've got a young daughter. She was an employee, then she felt fed up with the thing. She stayed at home to us, and I was annoyed. I said, look, you can't stay like this. Go and do something. She said, what would I do? I said, go and clean shoes. 2 weeks after, she said, what a great idea. I said, which idea? I said, cleaning shoes. She said, I'm not going to clean shoes, but I'll clean sneakers. And she studied the market. She found that it is $2.5 billion market. And she knew, she felt that there are people who have got a huge collection of sneakers, and the whole world is going sneakers rather than. She has now her own job online. She has a studio in a laboratory, as she calls it, in Dubai. She runs her own business, and okay, she'll break even by the end of the year, but after that I'm sure she will make lots of money. She's working hard, and she's passionate about it, and she's not afraid of failing. So that's it.
Thank you. How would you describe yourself in 3 words?
A good father. This is probably the best achievement, and I'm quite satisfied to have been a good father. What does a good father mean? A good father is somebody who does not expect anything from his children. On the contrary, he opens doors for them and preserve their liberty, their freedom. I never told a guy, do this, or said there is this and this and this. You choose. So this is, I think, my best achievement, to be a good father. And I think this is the law of nature. We are on this earth to preserve life on earth. I think this is what we are really driven with. That's, I think, what is my best, I hope so, anyway.
Thank you, Mr. Salman. I think you have given us a lot of advice, not only as an entrepreneur, as also as an individual who is just planning to start probably our own businesses.
Yes.
So I do appreciate.
You have to. Don't be afraid. If you have an idea, go for it. And if you don't have an idea, it's okay. See what the others are doing. Go and do better or more. Life is easy if you look at it in that manner.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
But if every obstacle you are stopped by, my uncle said, then you will fail.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.